Should we be concerned with the current VeVe collectible prices? That is our topic today. Let's also discuss the Layer 1 and Layer 2 bridge collectible price drops and what caused it. Let's take a look at Disney villains as well as music and the VeVe collectibles. The VVQ system, as well as drops, have been going at prices below the initial drop price. Let's also discuss the web app, the money transmitter license payouts, and KYC. Welcome to the Wednesday night OMI VV live stream on the Crypto Rain channel. Now make it rain on that like button. Special note, this isn't financial advice. We are not financial advisors. We are crypto investors and lovers ourselves of crypto. And this live stream is our special weekly stream focused on VV, OMI, and NFTs. Let's welcome our producer, D Money, as well as my co-host, Doctor of Stuff, top NFT expert, one of the top people for the best alpha on the VV space, Doctor of Stuff, and our producer, D Money. What's going on, guys?
Hey, Rain. What's up, D Money?
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy to be back for a Wednesday night show. Happy to see some of our friends in the audience. Abe was the very. What's up, guys? Happy to be back. Here early. What's up, Abe?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Jesters is there. Yeah, so good to see everybody.
Yes. So generally, the space is a little bit slow right now, and a lot of people are tuning out because it's very, very boring. Based on that statement, what do we know the best time in the space usually is when it's boring, right? Now, Dr. Stuff might remember a time where VV collectibles were boring before. I think this was before your time in VVD, but do you remember, Dr. Stuff, when the space was very boring and Todd McFarlane collectibles were just sitting there on the store and you could buy as many as you wanted for what, $80?
Yeah, I think it was $79.99. Yeah, it was the price of Todd McFarlane's. And then it even happened again, right? So Todd, once he sold out, and then he sat at like $200. I remember in May of last year, there was a lot of like concern and, FUD, right, around VV and what was going to happen. And a lot of, the crypto market had kind of gone down as well. And yeah, people were kind of fudding VV and the collectibles started to kind of drop in price. And they're like, oh, like what's going to happen? There was a lot of concern there. And I just kept stacking things right during that time period. I wish I would have stacked more Todds than I did. So stacked some. But yeah, like, look, this goes in cycles, right? And we're seeing that now, right? Where the prices are boring. In fact, I'm just going to say something right now. I just saw there's a pretty big character in the VV community, and like propagandist is his Twitter handle, and he just tweeted out saying that he believes that the partner statue is going to drop back down to retail. and like,
I know.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to call him out on it and make a bet. Like I don't know what else to do, right? I'm sorry, but like there's no way the partner statue is dropping back down to that price. There's no way. Like there's enough people in there because before it gets to that price, I'm gonna be buying more. Are you kidding me? There's no way. Because I'm like, there's no way it's going to get to that. But anyways, that's where we're kind of at, right? With people, it's just seeing prices continuing to fall, and they're like, what's happening? All this stuff. And it's funny because you'll get these AMAs that come out, right? Either from Dan and David Yu and Alex interviewing them, or from Alex and Reese. And like right after that, people are like, oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. And the prices are still dropping. And people somehow forget everything that was just said in this AMA about things that are going to be happening. And they're just like, oh no, what's happening? Everything's going down still, and they panic sell. Like, I'm like, I'm like, buy more. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I just continue to like, and I'm throwing fiat in at this point. Cause I'm just like, yeah, maybe they'll drop more, but like I'm dollar cost averaging and stuff. And the roadmap that they have that we're going to talk about today is just, it's so bullish. I'm like, you guys are like, you're crazy. And especially like love you to death, but you are crazy if you think that the partner statue is dropping back down to retail. Sorry.
I guess I want that prediction to be right so bad because I would literally like liquidate 100,000 in crypto and other things. And I'd buy so many partner statues, it wouldn't even be funny. So if they came anywhere near $400, if they came to $1,000, I'd be like, yoink.
We were talking, Doc, I think on Monday, we were talking about how it's at 11,000 right now and how that's a tempting entry point. Like, and
I'm going to pull it up right now because the last time I looked, which was just yesterday, but like, I mean, I think it had gotten back up to 13K, you know? So it'll be interesting to see kind of like where this drop is. But like, guys, there's so much coming down the line from this just latest AMA that happened yesterday where they kind of just talked about where things are at, right? And like, for example, there are people that they are allowing into the web app this weekend, right? The web app is like, and it's going to be a small group at first that they're, you know, these testers that are going, and then each 3 to 5 days they're going to, they keep calling it like a tranche of new people or trench of new people. And each trench is going to get bigger and bigger, right? With the expectation that probably by the end of May, everyone is going to be using the web app, right? And it's just to test to see if there's bugs before they just allow everyone on and something crashes. But I'm like, okay, so the web app is happening. Like it's happening this weekend. It's happening. And so we're going to start seeing money coming into VeVe, flowing into VeVe, because now they're not going to pay that 30% web app. I mean, like Apple app and Android app fee. And that's just going to kickstart so much stuff. Oh my. So anyways, sorry. That was a long tangent, Rain, on the fact that like there are times where things are boring. And right now prices are crazy boring from the standpoint of like people who are trying to sell, but man, they're exciting prices if you're looking to buy in.
Yeah, when you like to buy low, right? And I pray that the partner statue goes lower. I don't have one yet, and I'm like 11K. What crypto I'd have to sell off to get there. You know, a lot of the crypto projects are down too. So I'm like, it's tempting at 11K. It's not tempting enough, but if it got down below 3,000, I wouldn't be buying one. I'd be buying multiple. If it got to 1,000, I would like Christmas come early. Yes, please, those that have it, panic sell. Please, I beg you to panic sell so that I can get not only one, but like literally lots and lots of them, because I like the long-term value proposition there. And my guess is down the road, it's worth a heck of a lot more, even than the current price that it's selling at.
11.7K. That's where we're at right now. You know,
we need more panic selling going on there. Come on, guys. Come on. Of course, not this audience. I don't want this audience to panic sell. We're just everyone else. Get everyone else to panic sell.
I didn't see this. I haven't been keeping my eye. You can't keep your eye on everything, but Jester's Rune said that Cogsworth and Lumiere fell to $99 yesterday, which is just, I mean, I understand that it's not like the first golden moments, but man.
Well, so I'm gonna hit on something, right, that I think might be happening. I think that there is some substantial speculation as to what is dropping in May, right? So we obviously have May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And one thing that we've started to notice, David, you do is kind of drop some Easter eggs where in one of the last AMAs, he had like a Toby statue from Gary Baseman in the background, right? And then there was that Toby drop that happened like a week later or something. So in this latest AMA, in the background,
all Star Wars,
several Star Wars things. You had a Darth Vader, you had Boba Fett, right? Like you had several things in there, and then you even had, wait for it, a Pokemon card.
No, I missed that on the picture.
Oh, it was super blurry. But like, so whatever that could have always been there. And he just, but I'm just saying there are Easter eggs there coming out. And what we do know, like there's a ton of things that are going to be happening. And one thing that I'm actually really excited for, I don't know if you just saw, but VeVe just announced, and they announced it in the AMA, but this artist, Patrick Hughes,
right,
who's they call him the father of the reverse perspective artwork, right? And they just announced that that's dropping, I think, Saturday. And I don't think that people really realize like what it is, but like basically it's this artwork that when you watch, it's 3D, and when you look at it from different angles, it kind of follows you, but it creates this crazy perspective, and it juts out at you so that. But it's funny because they call it reverse perspective because what's closest to your eye actually looks the furthest away in the art piece, right? and these are going to look amazing in your showroom, and even in AR, right? Like you're gonna be able to drop that in the space and show people and look on your phone and like. So I'm definitely going for that drop. We don't know what the price is yet, but like, man, that's going to be so cool. And I think that there's going to be two different sets that they're going to be doing. So I don't know if there's just like one art piece this time and then another art piece another time. But I don't know. Yeah, they're dropping new artists. And then yeah, with David Yu's thing in I mean, you have OB1, that series that's dropping in May too. So like,
Right.
we've seen where VeVe will kind of coordinate with their partners and stuff on certain drops with like Moon Knight, and so maybe we don't get something on May 4th. Maybe we get something during May regarding Obi-Wan Kenobi or something. But like, I felt like that was a pretty like. There was so much Star Wars in there. It's like he's either trolling us or.
That's what I was gonna say. If I were him, I would troll. I really hope that's not the case, but I could totally see that.
Specifically, those are the two that I most want: the Darth Vader and like Boba Fett. I love those characters, and so hopefully there's something related to that. I don't know. It might be too much to hope for. I think you're right on the Obi-Wan. And they do correlate with their partners, right? We saw that with the Loki alligator, and we've seen that with the Moon Knight, and actually time and time again.
Well,
the
in
last
the freaking
like 6 months,
like the Doctor Strange drop tomorrow, like
yeah.
Multiverse of Madness is coming out, and I don't what's that? I know it's the Time Stone. What's the piece actually called?
The Eye of Agamon.
Yeah,
Agamotto.
Yeah,
Agamotto, right? And which
looks
that, yeah.
Which looks awesome, that they leaked I saw, who was it? Was it Chad, NFT Pirates? I saw him. He seemed to have, that was the first animation that I saw, and I thought he was kind of saying like, oh, I got a leak type of a thing. But yeah, and then I saw it on, I think on Instagram, they threw it out there, and it looks awesome. I mean, so yeah, that it stands to reason that but if they do a Star Wars drop, I just can't see that they're gonna do Darth Vader until the Q system is in place.
And the Q system, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe,
yeah,
but there's 20. Well, there's 20,000 of the Doctor Strange things coming out. And anyway, I mean, if they do a Darth Vader, even if they up the mint number to 60,000, I mean, that's a pretty high drop or mint number. But I don't know. I just think that they're gonna have that in place before they do a monster drop like that.
It is possible. For those in the audience that haven't tried a drop lately, it is so refreshing that like your chances are good again. Not like the early days, but like just after that, when like if you were right there and doing the right things, that your chance of getting a drop were pretty good. And a lot of times the comics, you have enough time to buy one and then possibly even buy another one. So it's been great again that you can get things on the drop, and you get once again a chance to get a secret rare or an ultra rare instead of just having to pay the top prices off the resale market. Now, the good thing about it is the resale market is pretty soft too. So those things that you really want, you're able to pick up.
Yeah, I was actually able to on the Disney Villains drop. I was able to pick up. I wasn't even at home on Wi-Fi. I was just on like 5G data, and I landed a drop. I couldn't believe it, because I haven't done that for a long time where I've been on a cell network. So yeah, it's super refreshing, and I want to talk. Chris Ashby just said I got 9 comics on the drop today.
Oh, man.
And that's how it was. I mean, the Marvel one, I didn't even know at the time when the Marvel one dropped. I didn't even know that you could exit out of the screen once your gems were deducted and go again. And I got 4 of those on the drop, waiting to see the mint number and all that, like, and so yeah, I mean, it's getting to be fun again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna jump in. I'm seeing a couple comments. So Jojo says, I think Prop was being sarcastic. Okay, I mean, Prop loves to troll. So I didn't have time, right? But like, Prop has said some things about like, secret rares of the comics dropping down to $80, like in general. So he has made some kind of like predictions. So, I mean, I did take that at face value. I saw it like right before we came on, and I was just like, that's crazy. So thanks, Jojo, for that. But let's kind of go, if it's okay, I'd love to kind of address some of the questions here that we have. Like,
For sure.
Riley PI talked about team physical drop for holders. Reese retweeted it. So, yeah, Reese. So I don't know if you saw that the team from the decon drop back in December, but it was like kind of the ice cream team physical copy. I mean, not NFT, where it kind of looks like he's pooping ice cream. Like, I don't know. But yeah, Reese retweeted where they had said that there's going to be a poster drop of for team holders. I don't know if it's a physical or if it's going to be an NFT. But yeah, thanks for shouting that out, Riley. I hadn't seen that. And
Yeah,
I
that would
don't
be.
know if you want to touch on some of these other questions. We'll go.
Yeah, well, so yeah, I mean, this is kind of a question. But Chris Ashby says, "You guys still holding out for the MTL massacre? I want to hold gems because I think it'll be even worse." And that certainly is a possibility, and something that we've been talking about for months now. Is that, yeah, when that MTL does come through, it only stands to reason that the collectibles prices are going to go down as people try and sell and cash out, and maybe they're not going to liquidate everything that they have, but there are a lot of people who have invested a lot of money into this, and and they'll be ready to take some out, and with that's their right, with reason they should. And so I think that they will go down once the MTL comes out, but will they pump before then? I don't know what your guys' thoughts are.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people don't have the patience for the long-term investing. And so you just see that, right? People come in, they're expecting short-term gains. When it doesn't play out like that, they exit and they're like, I'm going to take my ball and go home. And they do. And especially when they've had to wait for that floodgate to be open, that when it opens, there will be a flood of that. And this buying frenzy might only be a couple day window, or the selling frenzy. Maybe it's a week or two if we're lucky. So maybe some really good price. Not a bad idea to be sitting in gems. I'm sitting on some fiat that I can quickly convert some to gems, but probably I need to get more flush with gems. I did have 3,000 in my account, but there was so much that was good prices. I had a hard time waiting, and I bought some. I do have some more fiat on the side to get some more, but it's like the prices are attractive, and they'll probably even get more attractive. It's just hard to pass up some of the deals out there.
So I'm going to throw out something too. I do think that there will be kind of a dip, but what I think is happening is David, so there's a couple things that and we're talking about this in one of this Telegram groups I'm in. Shout out to the Omi whale group that I'm in on Telegram. But David came straight out and said we're not messing around, right? And I really think that he didn't really take a serious tone very often, but in this AMA, he really was kind of like we're going full steam ahead, right? And we're not going to be messing around. And so there's a lot coming. And then what I think is going to happen, I think they're very aware of the fact that there's a potential for people to take out money as soon as the MTL comes. So if I'm them, right, I'm going to be lining up some pretty sizable, awesome, epic drops around the same time, right? So that it's going to be really hard for people that so if they do drop a Star Wars or something, or if they do drop the Boba Fett or some other thing where it's just I have to have that. So I'm going to use these gems that I was going to cash out to do that. Or you're going to start seeing people that are like, oh, MTL's available. I've been sitting on the sidelines and now there's this massive drop. I'm going to be throwing money in, right? And so that might even counteract some. So there might be a dip as people start hearing oh, I did get access to MTL and I've taken some money out as it's coming out in waves, right? And people are like, okay, well, I'm going to sell some stuff. So we might see prices dip. But then if they do start doing some major announcements of some awesome IP or some awesome NFTs, right, that all of a sudden people are going to be, now that might cause other prices to drop as people are like, well, I don't have the gems, so I'm going to sell stuff so that I have gems. Or people might just be like, I'm just going to throw more fiat in. And that's me. I'm not willing to sell at these prices anymore. I've loaded up on some of the things I was missing, and now I'm just throwing in more fiat. So
It'd be especially good when they have the app on the computer that you can log in, if you can buy gems through there. So There also hopefully won't be the $600 gem limit, so you can buy more. And I'd love to see like 100% that those funds actually go to them. And so hopefully they have the app working by the time the MTL is working, so that those of us who want to buy more gems in order to buy some of the stuff if the prices do drop can do it through the app. That way VeVe gets that money. I'd much rather see them get it than Apple.
Yeah, and I think that the bottom line, I mean, I threw it up on the screen, but like Riley PI said, these guys are brilliant. I trust the team at VeVe, and you're absolutely right. Like they, if you think that we are thinking about it a lot, like I guarantee that they've already, you know, that they're like 7 steps ahead of where we are even thinking about it. You know, and so that's a great point, Doc, and I hope that that's true, and I'm sure that it probably is. He also threw up the idea of Banksy ? Man, that would be huge. How fun would that be?
I mean, like that would be amazing. I just don't see Banksy coming in. But David, you did say that they have AAA artists coming, right?
Yeah.
And I look, I'm not in the art world, so I don't know what that means truly. Like who's considered AAA? But like again, I look back at like someone who seems to fit this and has already kind of has done AR stuff, like, and that's Cause. Like Cause did he basically did a collaboration with like General Mills through the Reese's Puffs. In fact, give me 2 seconds. Right. So here's one of them, right? So this is Cause, and you have like the Cause like in the background.
Yeah.
Right? So like I've bought several of these boxes and stuff, and like this is already in AR, right? So like you can definitely see someone like a Cause. That would probably be someone I would say that's AAA. So no confirmation, right? But like, I mean, if he's throwing out AAA, I would say that they're probably going to be pretty big names that even most people are like, oh, like if I haven't heard the name, I've at least seen the artwork type stuff, right? So anyways.
And that's what I want a promo code to be, is like I buy a box of Reese's Puffs and I get
I know the best cereal too, right? That you can
right.
cereal, and like who doesn't love that cereal?
Yeah, Stardust Runner likes it. That's rad.
So I was thinking about the collectible prices being down and everything, right? And I was thinking correlation with something else. And imagine like the first year or 2 or 3 of collecting Pokemon cards, if you're expecting them to do well in value. Fair to say the actual increase in value wasn't really there the first year or 2 or 3. It's also fair to say like everyone watching this, if you go back in time, would buy as many of the first couple of years of Pokemon cards as they could. So like a lot of times we get short-term like burnout, and it's just normal, right? Oh my gosh, the prices are down for the last 3 months. They're not going up. You know, when is this? I'm so tired of waiting. It's been 3 months, because time passes so slow in this, and you're emotionally hoping for it to do well, and you're taking emotional hit, it doesn't. They're like, this time frame is like nothing. We have seen though in just the past year like 2 big run-ups where we had like one big price increase and kind of settled and pulled back, and then another major price increase, and then it has since settled and pulled back. So 2 major run-ups in just a year time frame is not bad. And so if you were around back then, especially since the beginning, you benefited massively if you just had some good collectibles that did well. But even if you missed then and you bought on the pullback, you've done pretty darn well. I mean, even if you bought a Todd McFarlane for $500, maybe you missed the chance to sell it for $14,000.
Yeah, whatever.
And it's still, what is it today? Like $8,000. And so a lot of these newer collectibles, like I'm not buying more Todd McFarlanes even at the reduced price. I'm buying some of the ones that haven't pumped yet, because I think that's where the value is. Now, I know we also want to talk about some other things today, and there were some things, Dr. Stuff, you want to share about the music related to these collectibles.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it was basically that, yeah, something that was really cool. I was in a Twitter Spaces with Alex, Rev Alex G, and one of the things that he talked about, which just got me so pumped, like, you know, we saw the Disney villains drop, right, with the Ursula. And I mean, these were kind of, someone described it. I'm trying to remember who. wish I'd give them credit, but like they nailed it on the head. They're kind of like Wii characters, you know, or like, you know, there's music in the background, and at first I was like, oh snap, you know, like Ariel, like I think it was Boobs for You. That's her Twitter name. But like it was, she'd said that she thought like Ariel's voice was going to come from the seashell on Ursula, right? Like how crazy would that have been? And Alex was saying, look, like that's basically copyrighted music, and that could potentially cost a lot of money, right? And so like this is a new space where, you know, when you play it on, you know, Spotify or whatever, the artist gets paid like, you know, pennies or percentage of a penny or whatever like that for every stream. And like how do you transition that to like an NFT that anytime you have the NFT in AR or something, or you touch it, like it makes that music. So there's negotiations going on there, but like they're working on something, trying to work with some of these musicians to where like you'll have whatever. I mean, I think the potential example was someone like, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow, right? And like you click on him, and like then all of a sudden, you know, actual Pirates of the Caribbean music is happening. Or what if you had a Darth Vader, right, and the Imperial March was playing? I mean, like that just gives me freaking chills. But if they are able to do that, those pieces are going to be at like a premium price. And I'm like, I would pay that. I would pay that. Honestly, if I got freaking Darth Vader as this NFT and the Imperial March behind, and I had to pay a higher premium to do that, like so be it. And so that wouldn't happen with all of them, but like that's the route they're going, right? As they're working on this, and it's such a new space that these are the things that they have to like negotiate and go through, and that takes time. But I don't know, it just made me even more bullish on kind of like what they're talking about, what they're thinking through, and how they can add additional value to these NFTs.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna call the Disney one like I saw it, like when because I got a couple Ursulas on the drop, and I was pretty disappointed in the music. I mean, I really was. I was like, really, guys? Like this is what we got? But you know, knowing that it's possible, and then seeing, you know, in the future what it could be, it still, I think, is something to be, you know, I mean, those drops are still the first Disney villains that ever existed. I mean, and you go back to like the Marvel Mighties, right? Like I remember when those dropped, and I was just like this is lame. I don't like the way these look. They look like little like plush koosh dolls or whatever, you know. I just was like, this is lame. And I didn't go for that drop. I really didn't. And I ended up buying a Captain America on the market months later, because I was just like, man, this still has value, you know. And so yeah, I mean, first Disney villains, first drops that have music. I mean, I think that those are going to be a big deal. And I like, Doc, you were talking about how it's nice to have that price point, right? Like not everything can be, you know, it can be this beautiful 3D rendered collectible that they're selling for, you know, $100 to $400, because people just can't get in the space. And so to have something like this where it's like, holy cow, like I still want that Queen of Hearts. Like I love Alice in Wonderland, and like and it's a price point where, you know, where I can get in, or where anybody can get in, you know, for $20. And, you know, maybe you hit the rare, maybe you hit the ultra rare, and then you can, you know, you get a couple, maybe you flip one or whatever, and then you're in. I think it's a huge deal.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to touch on too, kind of touching on that point, but then also jumping back to kind of the whole purpose or the theme right behind this of like what's happening with VeVe collectible prices. I think that there's some major stuff, right? There is, you know, so I think that the bots propped up like a kind of a crazy market, right? Where, like, and there was all this hype, so these collectibles were pumping and people were selling as new money was flooding in. But what we saw is the bots were slowly draining liquidity from the market, because they would land the majority of these drops, and then they would sell all the secret rares, and they would make all of those returns. And most people like the community weren't getting the drops, right? So they were having to pay up just to get the secret rare or something, because almost no one was landing it on the drop. And then those bots were then selling the gems at a discount to kind of like whales or other people. And so people were buying these gems at a discounted price, right? So then they're going to the market, and you have some investors like myself, right, who are paying full retail for something. And then someone who's like, I'm buying that at a 50, like at a 45% discount. So they're buying multiples of those, right? And so I think that now as kind of, we're still seeing some people buy gems at a discounted rate, but the bots aren't getting the gems like they used to, right? Because they can't transfer the money and the NFTs to kind of make that all work. And so I think that's one of the reasons we're starting to see prices deflate, is because people were getting this at a 45% discount and now they're not. And now it's like, okay, what am I really willing to pay at this point in time for these collectibles? So there's that. But then to your point, D, about like, and Rev Alex G said this, is they're trying to hit mass awareness, right? And there's going to be people who are coming in, and it's like, I can't afford a $400 NFT, but like I would love like a $20 NFT, you know, and there are going to be different looks and different price points that they're trying to work on. And so, you know, at first it's been funny as some of these things haven't sold out immediately, and people are like, oh, this is such a flop, it hasn't sold out immediately. And it's like, you realize at some point the VeVe team wants that, right? They want things in the store for newcomers to come in and actually be able to buy at retail. Or if it hasn't sold out, you're probably getting stuff on the secondary for cheaper than retail. So then new people come in and are like, sweet, I get to buy it less than retail. And that's going to allow the user base to grow and get some good entry points for people of all different like wallet sizes, right? And I think that that's very important.
Yeah, we're back to where we were. Remember, the Batman Who Laughs was out there for forever. You could buy him. And then during the next pump, it went from, what was the purchase price on that? Was it 60 gems? I don't remember what it was.
Around there, 50, 60. Yeah.
And it went up to like 600 or 700 gems. And it's probably pulled back to 100 or 200 or 300 gems now. And so we're just back to those days. And these are great days. I mean, this is an amazing time to identify which ones you like and which ones you think will do well if you're looking for an investment perspective, and then make buys while it's nice and the market's soft. I love this time period. Now, a lot of you probably don't have high liquidity, and so you just do what you can and make the choices you can without like using rent or anything crazy like that. At least that's what I've done over the past 4.5 years, because frequently when prices go down, well, as they were heading down this way, I would put my money in, then they would go even cheaper. And it's like, shoot, I'm out of liquidity and prices are probably now at their bottom. And then they'd go down even more. And it's a good problem to have, because then prices, after going down, they do eventually go up, which I don't know. Mind if I talk about, let's go ahead and talk about the OMI price I wanted to share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'm really bullish about this chart, completely bullish. And there's not very many times where you get such a clear indication of what's happening. And this is very much a big W pattern. And I like W's. Another term for a W pattern is a double bottom. What we see, what's characteristic in this double bottom, is that this side is lower than this side. And if you look at the nice roundness going on here, this says that the sellers are running out of steam and the buyers are buying it before it's even getting down to this previous level of 0.17 cents. It's at 0.25 cents. And so we're seeing the buyers push up as it gets to these prices and this nice rounding happening. And the way this pattern often plays out is it comes back up, not perfect like that line, but kind of like a reverse of this. And it goes up equal to this line at about the 1.4 cents. And then it usually comes back down to around the 0.8 cents. And then it's usually off to the races from there. And so this chart is extremely bullish. And charts aren't a magic crystal ball. They don't tell you exactly what's going to happen. They just share with you the probabilities of what usually happens. Because these patterns of human emotion is really what drives these charts. And then people program these bots to work off of this, which then further makes it usually play out that way. And so you just see some exhaustion from the sellers coming down here. And what happens when they sell is after a while, they don't have any more to sell. And all last year, a lot of the team behind Ecomi were finally released a whole bunch of their tokens, which I remember when Ecomi launched. I was part of the pre-sale. One of the big selling points that they sold on that was, oh, look, we have 3-year lockups for our team, which you're like, oh, wow, 3-year lockups. Well, that 3-year lockup was this last year. And so the team, a lot of the early people who worked on the team and some people that came midway through, they all were paid in OMI tokens that weren't released till this last year. And that put a lot of selling pressure that helped it get down to these lower prices. But eventually they don't have any more to sell. And buyers keep coming in. That's what pushes it up like this, as well as some people that get disheartened who maybe bought at higher prices and they finally panic sell out. But we can see the sellers are running out of tokens to sell and the buyers giving strong support levels. And we're starting to turn around to a very bullish sign here. I'm really excited. I was looking at this pattern here and didn't know exactly how this would play out. It did break down to the bottom side. So I used that opportunity just to double my position in OMI tokens. I sold some other things that were relatively up and doubled my OMI position in this range because it just like Christmas came early. And it's too bad because I bought some more in this price range. Would have loved to have a magic crystal ball and know that it was coming back down here. But you don't know those things. Nobody does. And so when it does give you a gift like that, you just make something happen, or at least that was the choice I was able to make based on another position doing well.
I'm going to jump in real quick. Do you want to show that chart again, Rain?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that also kind of as I'm looking at this is what we know is coming, right? So we're this quarter, right? We're supposed to have the web app that's going to give VeVe more money, right? We've got the KYC and the MTL, which then is going to allow people that the NFT transfers and gem transfers are going to come back. We have the OUP and the I want to say the MCP coming out, Master Collectors Program. And then they basically said that in Q3, they're going to start massive marketing. So they're already hiring more marketing. So right now it's been Rev Alex G, right? But he's hiring more people onto his team. And he basically is like, you'll know when we do marketing because it's going to hit you in the face like a brick, you know? And I'm just like, and so that's coming. And so as we're seeing this trend line here and like this kind of rounded bottom, and then we have all of this qualitative information to add to the technical analysis, right? Which is supporting what this chart is looking like. And again, this is all just an educated guess, but I'm just like, man, like this does look like that perfect W pattern. So it's pretty exciting when you then add on this other qualitative information to that chart.
Yeah. And obviously some people are thinking about that. That's why the buying pressure has been creating such strong support. And you're seeing this nice rounded bottom. You know how this almost always ends. I've been investing for going on 25 years now, and it gets me really excited, right? So I know the space is feeling boring to a lot of the audience, and that's normal. We are emotional creatures. We like to think we're logical, but we're not. We're very emotional, and sometimes we then tell ourselves logical things to back up our decisions. But it does affect us, and it gets boring like this. And we were talking to a good friend, and he's like, yeah, I didn't even check my prices for like the whole day the other day, and like that like never happens. And it's just because we get worn down like this. And this will happen again. We'll have a massive run up, I think, in the coming months, and then we'll go into a crypto winter again, which will be even a longer version of this. And a lot of people will leave the space, and that's okay. Because when it gets crazy, I don't know about you, but I'm going to be taking a lot of profits, putting them on the sidelines, waiting for then another moment like this when everything gets really, really boring again. And then I'll be buying like crazy. And it's funny, you just repeat that pattern over and over again. And before you know it, like your finances are changed for forever.
Before we know it, we'll be like you. Is that what you're trying to say? Hey man, I'm for it.
I had a good head start, and I watched, 2017. I was new in crypto, and I thought the normal investing rules didn't apply, Oh yeah, they apply as much as ever. We just have shorter cycles in crypto with a lot more volatility, but absolutely the rules of investing apply. And so I got burned my first couple of months, made some mistakes, which you learn the most when you make mistakes. And then I was like, I knew I was onto something, and the whole bear market, I was just buying like crazy. Working as much extra as I could to earn as much extra income as I could, plugging it all into crypto. And my wife's always looking at me like, "Why are you broke all the time? Didn't you have a good bonus this month?" I was like, "Yeah, I went straight to crypto." Oh man, what are you doing? I was like, "Trust me, it'll work out fine." Okay, and we've only been married 5 years, and so like we had only been married about 2.5 at that time. I'm sure she was thinking, "Okay, I trust you, but all right, I hope this goes well." So it's gone just fine.
Yeah, I should say.
Yeah. So there's that question by Jester's Rune I wanted to touch on. So to answer that, he asked where you can go to learn more about how to evaluate the comics, right? And even the collectibles to determine what's good to collect and invest in. What I do when they do a comic announcement, right? There's this website, Go Collect. So what I'll type in is I'll type in so this last comic book that dropped, right, was the New Mutants #2 annual. So I typed that in, or New Mutants annual #2, and then I typed in CG 9.8, right, which is basically really the highest grade you can typically get. And then I go to this Go Collect website, and that will pull it up, and it will list some of the most recent sales of these comics, and that gives you kind of an idea of like where the physical is right now. But something to keep in mind. Marvel is kind of trying to do like somewhat of a reset, right? They're bringing in a ton of new characters, and so you're looking at some of these comics that like really don't have much value, um, in the physical world, right? But again, like VeVe is constantly partnering, like they're doing this purposefully, right? They're doing it for a reason. And so I think with like the Doctor Strange, I mean, we saw that with Moon Knight, right? In the Moon Knight comic that dropped. Um, and so when they're dropping things like this, the first appearance of Psylocke, or the first appearance of the White Widow, right? Like I think that we are going to start really seeing these characters show up and potentially like take like a bigger role going forward as they're trying to bring in new fans and kind of bring in new characters. Because I mean, ultimately, like how many Spider-Man movies can you make, right? Like, I mean, like, you can continue to make some, but like if you can bring in new characters as well, right, and create other storylines and develop a fan base there, which I think is what Marvel's trying to do. So, I mean, I'm still stacking, especially these comics that are $3, on the secondary market. I'm like, I'm going to buy 5 or 6 of these and just hold on to them because, yeah, the physical versions aren't worth much right now. But if Marvel starts to put money into these characters, right, then all of a sudden the physicals / these NFT comics could actually go up in value. And for me, it's a low risk bet, and maybe nothing will happen. But then I also look at like some of the artwork on it, and even if these are $3 commons, once you get the comic to show up in your showrooms, I think people are going to want just some of that artwork. Just looks epic, and so they'll want to buy that, which will create more demand. And so even if I bought it at $3 and there's enough demand that it goes up to 6, I've just doubled my money, on things like that. So things to take into consideration, right?
Great points.
The answer to the number of Spider-Man movies you can make is a lot, by the way.
That's fair. That's fair. I've watched them all. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Yep.
But but even if you start making Spider-Man and you're bringing in these new characters into Spider-Man movies, right?
Totally.
I mean, we're going to start seeing some stuff with this multiverse of madness, right? Like, I think that we're going to start seeing the introduction of X-Men, with the Avengers and things, right? Like, with this multiverse, they're able to bring in basically whoever they want, in these different alternate universes and stuff. And so I think that that's where Marvel is going, and then there'll be spin-offs of that, right? Where now you'll have like X-Men and Avengers together, or like, I don't know, just, I mean, there's so many different combinations that you can have. So
Yeah, Magneto could have made that fight against Thanos so much easier, right? And just like the metal glove and just be like, zoink.
Yeah, and I don't know, and I don't want to get off on this tangent, but I don't know where the licenses are and all that with like Sony versus like, versus Marvel and getting the X-Men over into that world. But yeah, it's going to be, there obviously the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything else, Doctor, you wanted to share from the AMA?
Yeah, give me just a sec. Oh yeah, so one of the things as they're talking about, like, so the phase 1 of the MCP is coming, right? And what that's going to entail is basically like in your profile, it's going to show your level, your rank. But one of the things that you're going to have to do if you are an existing user, you're going to have to go into your profile and you're going to have to opt into the Master Collector program in your profile section. And then it's going to do a retroactive count back, right, and add up all of those points. And depending on how far back it has to go and all the collectibles and all of the things that you've done, like they said, it could take up to several hours. But that's pretty exciting. Another thing, and like I really appreciate that Alex does such a good job, Rev Alex G, of like asking a lot of the questions that the community is bringing up, right? So one of them is, okay, let me back up a little bit. So I tweeted and I talked about in the last our last video about the bat cowls and how NFT Now, that has about 100,000 followers on Twitter, put out this Medium article saying that these bat cowls were the first DC Batman NFTs, right? And I'm like, yeah, slight correction. Actually, the first ones were put on the blockchain in October of 2020, and you can find them on the VeVe app, right? So yeah, anyways, like I had lost my train of thought with that one, but the metadata, people were saying like, oh yeah, they're the first NFTs will show us on the blockchain. And I'm like, well, technically I can show you like on even on like IMX, like here's the token ID, but they're like, I can't verify that token ID is tied to that, Todd McFarlane Batman or something. And so that's one of the questions that people have asked is, hey, when's the metadata coming? And Dan said like, well, we really have to focus on the giant things that are going to spring us forward, the most, and that's going to be the web app and MTL, or KYC and MTL. But it's not a super big project, and it's coming up the list. So, but that's something that like they talked about, right, and hitting on. That'll be exciting to start seeing that, and actually it'll be a lot easier to also track bot activity, right? Because you can then track that collectible. And also another cool thing will be, and I think that we'll start seeing more activity is like, oh, this was owned by David Yu. Like this is David Yu's wallet, or this is, Rudy Gobert's wallet, or whoever, right? If they make that apparent that that's their wallet, then people might start wanting to buy certain collectibles to have that, like basically, digital ledger saying like this was owned by whoever. And in the case of John Savage, who I am not a big fan of on Twitter and is constantly just like this VeVe troll, he was complaining that no one like was buying his partner statue, and propagandist was like, or maybe it was blockchain Rick James, but one of them was like, yet no one wants your digital signature on their collectible, bro. So it might even be that too, right? Where we're like, yeah, like maybe I don't want this one, right? So maybe you should be nice to people, or just don't let people know what your collectible you own is or something. But it'll be interesting to see that dynamic too, right? Of like who owns what, and like, oh, they're selling that, and like I want to own that because of that digital ledger that's going to show that this person owned it. So that was really cool. And let me see if there's any other things that like I really wanted to. Oh, something interesting. I don't know if you guys noticed this, right? I think most people have if you bought on the secondary, but so I'm going to drop some alpha for people who are trying to be snipers on the secondary market, right? But it used to be that you would click on something as soon as it appeared, and it would just be like, this has been allocated to other users. But like you would click, and then you'd still have to go and hit buy now, right? So you would click, and then you'd have to like scroll down to try to hit buy now again, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now what happens is like it can reserve it for you. Right. So then you have like, I think 120 seconds or even maybe 180 seconds to buy the collectible.
Wow.
So what people are doing is they're going to to the market. And as soon as they'll go to like the most recently listed, and they're refreshing, waiting for like a 3-digit mint or a low 4-digit mint, and not even looking at price, right? Because that takes additional time to be like, there's a low mint, what's the price at? Well, now they can just hit like, I want to buy it. And then if they look and they're like, okay, this is overpriced, and then exit out, right? So that's going to give you a split second advantage when you're trying to snipe things, is just looking at that 3-digit mint and then hitting buy now, not even worrying about the price, because you can exit out. Whereas before, if you hit buy now, like if you made a mistake and that happened to me on the stamp drop, the Tiger like stamp pad. Oh my gosh, guys, I saw this super low mint and I clicked on it and hit buy now, and I just got these little chubby fingers or something, and I hit the one below it, and I purchased a high mint like rare, Tiger, like Year of the Tiger stamp pad for $400.
Oh my gosh.
Or 400 gems, and the floor was like 80, and I was like, oh my gosh, so that risk is taken away. So I am very grateful for that. And these are the little tweaks that are constantly being made. It's so frustrating to see people be like, they're not doing anything on the app. They're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, and it's just like, they are hiring people. They talked about that, right? So not only are they increasing marketing, but they're saying, they've been hiring and scaling as they need to scale. So there is some of the FUD, and like, I get it, because people are like, well, why is this taking so long, when they're comparing, like, why is MTL not out, but then Recur comes out? Well, Recur's been working on MTL since inception, however many years ago that was, right? And so anyways, it's tough to kind of keep those in perspective. And that's why I love this live stream, where we can kind of address some of those things and put things into perspective for people to help understand like what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and they did have to do a major shift before MTL was even possible, which was shifting off of GoChain over to ETH in the layer 2 solution on Immutable X. So they had to get that done, have everything working with that before they could really even think about MTL, and then they could further work on MTL. So yeah, they made a flaw putting it on GoChain. Like at the time that they made that decision, it seemed like a really, really good decision. I mean, GoChain at the time was pumping tremendously. It just didn't end up working out. The GoChain got the traction, and so there wasn't enough adoption there, and it was clear that they needed to go to a different layer 2 scaling solution on Ethereum, and Immutable X was a great choice. So it, in business, it's frustrating. You take a long-term approach. They're doing the right things. You go through these phases where people get impatient and they sell, and that's what creates good buying opportunities. I mean, imagine, people sold their super rare Charizard Pokemon card, right? Year 1, 2, or 3, even they're really rare and hard to get. But then people are like, and I imagine a bunch of those sold for like super cheap. And what do they go for now? Like $100K or something ridiculous? Probably much more than that. And, that's just the value of having long-term vision. I call it golden vision, where you can see where things are now and the frustrations. And you look for the future, like what's coming together and what will come together. And when those things come together, usually the prices are much, much higher. My background was I did a lot of real estate investing, and I used to work teaching people about real estate investing. And I remember this one guy that was like, oh my gosh, my family had a chance to buy this land for $30,000 for this 30 acres. And now there's, a Walmart and like I can't remember, fast food place, Panda Express and all these things there. And oh my gosh, it just sold for like $10 million. And we could have bought it for $30,000. And I was like, well, why didn't you? And they're like, oh, because back then it was way, way out there. And they're like, yeah, I just missed such an opportunity. I was like, well, so we can drive about 5 miles down this major road where it's just a lot of vacant land, but the major road, and you know where it is, and we can buy some land there. Yeah, you get about 10 acres for about $30,000, and then you wait 20 years. No, but there's nothing there. Well, why do you think it's so cheap? You're never going to run into a situation where everything's there and you're able to buy it for $20,000 or $30,000. What you have to do is have the golden vision of, okay, what things are coming together that down the road will be worth something. And you got to weather the frustrations that come during that time. And that's why people with long-term vision, this golden vision, make it rich. And the other people make excuses. And that's okay. Like, you know, our only goal in life shouldn't be to get rich. Getting rich doesn't make you happy. But is it fair to say that it does give you a lot more options and choices in your life? That's what I like about money. Money gives you options that you don't have if you don't have the money. So,
yeah, well said, Rain. I think that's a fitting way to end the episode, frankly, because it's tough to have that perspective at times, and you know, just like you were talking about your buddy that didn't even check the market today. You know, I mean, because it gets tough. You know, I feel that way. A little bit of exhaustion within the crypto space as a whole. You know, and it's tough to see your OMI token price go down and your collectibles drop and that sort of a thing. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's important to keep the long-term perspective.
Great. If you're watching this today, are you ready to be a rainmaker? If you're not already, and join what I call the Navy SEALs of crypto and level up your crypto game. Why Navy SEALs? Because Navy SEALs aren't just above average, but the best. And in crypto, do you know if you just take 15 minutes or so a day over time, and you put together the knowledge that you learn over a period of, say, 1 to 2 years, you'll be in the top 1 to 2% with your understanding of the crypto market. And if you use that knowledge and understanding towards smart investment principles, like what we talk about here, I think your journey in crypto is going to be an amazing one. Remember, no rain, no gain.
To the space, chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit bad before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I take the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. The principles are simple, to leave it alive. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, studying to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this road, cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. They go with the hate, say the haters be crafting. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough. And that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.